Which stone will we get next? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Season 2, Episode 3 of Kid Cosmic. And last time we faced a rather perilous pyramid that had a lot of puzzles within it. And Jo just was not cooperating. She just wanted to get through it the easiest way possible, and unfortunately, can't always take the easy route. Doesn't lead you to what you need, you know? So she still, sped through it when she did it again, but she did do it right the second time. There's nothing wrong with, speeding through it as long as you do it right. But you do have to do it right. That is the prerequisite. And she was able to help her friends with her super speed and all. And now we move into the next one. And it seems to be building up some stuff for Flo, I noticed. Because throughout that entire time last time, Flo was noticing the puzzles, trying to work through them, and Jo was the one who was saying oh, let's just skip ahead and do all this in a cheap way and everything. But Flo, you could tell, was getting annoyed by that. And even at the end when Jo hugged her and everything, she was not exactly in the best spirits about it all. I think she can tell that Jo is struggling here. Struggling to be a leader and struggling to do the right thing. And I think this is going to come to some level of confrontation between them by the end of the season. I think Flo's going to need to confront her and help her realize that the advice she's been given is not necessarily bad. It's just the way she's, putting it into practice. The way she's handling it all. And Flo's got to, help her realize that there's better ways to do this. But we'll see. We shall see. Still got plenty of season to go. There's 8 episodes this season. It really does suck that each season has 2 less episodes than the last. I really don't think that would have been intentional. It would have probably been Netflix just ordering less episodes, which is really disappointing. Because it's you got a creator who's extremely well known in the animation community with Craig McCracken. And then you have a series that's just really well written with great voice actors. And it's Tom Kenny is in this. And he's a big name. So it's just, it just seems disappointing that Netflix would give less and less to this. But we've kind of learned over the years that Netflix doesn't give 2 shits about its animation. They like to pretend they do, that it's oh, we're going to bring on new anime and stuff. We're going to bring in new creators to do their animated projects. But then, they're also going to slash their animation budget, just cancel popular animated series left and right. And the funny thing is, when they get this influx of complaints, this huge amount of complaints about, oh, this animated series that people love was canceled, they're we don't cancel shows that have good ratings. It's obviously you do. It's they're trying to make excuses and trying to give basically the press answer. Basically equating it to the ratings and, trying to put the blame on us. But in reality, a lot of these shows that have been canceled at Netflix have been extremely popular. Maybe not as popular as something on, network TV or whatnot, say, Amphibia or Owl House. But if that's what they're trying to compare it to, I don't think most things are going to reach that level. And I mean that for any streamer. almost nothing on Netflix is going to reach that level. There's probably been a single handful of things on Netflix throughout its entire history that has reached that level of popularity. And I'm not counting stuff that started on another network and then moved to Netflix, like Breaking Bad or Avatar or whatnot, because that doesn't count. Avatar's popularity existed well before Netflix, and its popularity wasn't because of Netflix. Same with Breaking Bad. They had a resurgence that just happened to coincide with both shows being on Netflix, but that's it. It was coincidence. And then you have like other stuff from other streamers, and it's like, yeah, most of the stuff isn't going to be that popular either. Again, maybe a handful of stuff. Like Amazon Prime, even. Amazon Prime is probably one of the most successful in terms of this, and it's still only a handful of stuff. You have like what? The Boys, Invincible. You have Has-Been Hotel recently, got big numbers. It's like, it's a handful of stuff that ever reaches that level of popularity. And it's just like, that's really rare. Because most of the stuff that they put out just aren't going to do well. Or at least not that well. Not as well as they clearly want it. So. But the point of this rant, the point of this rambling and all, is just to say that it's like, this series deserved more episodes. Cutting it down, 2 episodes each season, sucks ass, honestly. Unless for whatever reason this was the intent of Craig McCracken and the rest of the team, if that was intentional and they wanted to do that, then all right. I mean, the creator's vision is definitely important there. And I've heard of some creators doing stuff like that. But I just don't feel like that would make a lot of sense. I feel like the creators would want more episodes to explore this kind of stuff. Like, even if you're planning it, oh, it's going to be a 3-season story, that's what we're going to do. Even if you're planning that, it's like, still, I would think you would want like 3 full seasons rather than having it be cut down each time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But either way, we're going to get started and see what this episode has in store for us. So, before we do, I want to mention that there's a lot of great content to check out on the channel. Monday through Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube or YouTube adjacent reactions. Basically, anything that doesn't quite fit into a full series or a movie reaction. Anything that's like shorts or specials or one-offs or even like mini series that's only like 3-4 episodes long. Stuff like that will all fit into the YouTube slot. It's just a good, easy name for the slot. And speaking of movie reactions, though, we do have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. They're recorded earlier during the week, but uploaded on the weekends so that every day has something going on for it. We also have a couple Let's Plays currently going on the channel. We are playing through Spider-Man 2 every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And I'm very much enjoying it. It's a phenomenal story, great superhero action, and it's just fun. So, having a blast with that. If you're new to checking it out, just as a warning, the first 9 parts have some audio issues, most prevalent in parts 5 through 9. But, starting with part 10, they do get fixed. I figured out what the issue was, and we should be good to go from there. At least for the most part. There might be a little tiny bit of issue once in a while, but for the most part, we should be fine from that point on. On Saturdays, we are playing through Anno Mutationum. This is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. if you want to know how to engage with donation reward Let's Plays and donate for one in the future on the PS5, all you have to do is check out one of the videos on the channel titled PS5 Game Reward Month. Search it on the channel. You should find it pretty easily. There's two videos that you can find. Both of them will tell you everything you need to know in order to donate for a PS5 game. It's a little different than how regular donation rewards go, so I figure that it would be smart to just get a little more info there. If you really want to, you could also contact me on the Discord server in a direct message, or I guess in the comments below. Whatever works best for you. I don't really mind that much. It's completely up to you. But these rewards are just like any other on the channel, completely optional, only if and when you can. And it's just a matter of, having that opportunity, having that decision, and it won't stop you from seeing anything on the channel. All Let's Plays, all reactions, everything will still be available for everyone to see. So, that being said, let us get on with today's reaction and see what this episode has in store for us. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction because, yes, we do redirect all of our reactions on this channel. You know how YouTube tends to be with copyright. It's, let's be honest, shit. So because of that, just to be safe, to avoid any possible channel strikes or, God forbid, the channel getting terminated, dealt with that before, it sucks, do not want to deal with again. But to avoid all that kind of stuff, we just kind of push the reactions onto another site. One where it can just be, handled easily without having to worry about it. I know you don't necessarily want to go through all these extra clicks just to get to the reaction, but it's just one extra. Just a link down in the description below. And on the plus side, this does mean that all of you, yes, every single one of you, gets to see the full unedited reaction completely free. No paywalls, no Patreon, and you don't even have to sync up your own copy. I think that's pretty good. Not every channel is able to get away with that due to, monetizing their videos and everything. I don't have to worry about that. So you guys get to see all my reactions completely free in their entirety. And after you watch the reaction, you can come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will not only contain spoilers to the episode, but also just my general thoughts on the episode, the series, things going on with that, and maybe even other stuff related to the channel. It's always worth checking out. Definitely suggest you stay for the afterthoughts. But if you can't, that's fine too, as long as you enjoy the reaction. So, I think we should get on with the reaction, and hopefully enjoy this episode. I mean, we should. It's Kid Cosmic. Pretty enjoyable. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, Joe's biggest enemy right now is herself. Queen Jean is not helping either, but she's trying so hard to be a good leader, and unfortunately, she's taking Queen Jean's advice to take kind of aggressive control. And again, this is probably just how things have been for Queen Jean's people, and, because of losing her people and everything. She probably is just trying to stick with what she knows. She wants to honor their legacy and everything, and this is how she's doing it. She's raising up an apprentice who can, carry on these beliefs and ideals. I don't think there's any ill will. But unfortunately, it's causing problems. And the thing is, Joe realizes that they should have left right when they got the stones. And she realizes that the advice she was given was wrong, but the problem is she's a teenager. Like, I remember being a teenager. Teenagers seek approval so goddamn much. Not only just from their peers, but from the adults in their lives. Like, a lot of teenagers will obviously be like, ew, adults, or like, I'm gonna rebel against my parents and stuff, but um, they won't always admit it. But teenagers greatly seek approval from the adults in their lives because they're going through a time where they're they're going through a lot of emotions, a lot of doubts, a lot of anxiety. Mind you, some of us don't grow out of that anxiety as much. Speaking of myself, um, but teenagers go through that a lot, and they want that positive reinforcement and attention. And so when an adult in their lives gives them even just the smallest semblance of that, it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like they're accomplishing something. It makes them feel like they matter. And that's extremely important for a teenager to feel. Joe very much feels like a very believable teenager here, a very realistic character. She comes across as someone who is extremely worried about what others think of her, but also wants to be the best person she can be and the best leader she can be. And she's putting too much on her plate. Something that a lot of, again, teenagers go through. She's putting too much on her plate and trying to live up to some standard that is just not really attainable. Because here's the issue with doing that, both in real life and with characters in these shows and stuff. When you try to live up to someone else's standard, you're always going to fail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're always going to fail. Because no matter what, again, you're trying to live up to someone else's standard. You're trying to live up to their grading. And you're never going to be just right for that because you're not them. You have to live up to your own standards. Standards that you, with wisdom and thought, put forward for yourself. And we know Jo is extremely smart. She is great at thinking things out. The plans that she comes up with prove this. She needs to take the time and not worry so much about what Queen Jeanne thinks she should be. But she has to come to realize what she needs to be for herself and for her friends. She needs to come up with this on her own and not take someone else's advice for her. And that includes her mother's, by the way. We know Flo is trying to help as well, but she needs to do this on her own. And I'm not saying, like, she needs to, like, go away from all these influences and just ignore them, but no. No, that's not what I'm saying. Just to clear that up right away. I'm just saying, like, this is a personal thing that she has to figure out. And it's not going to be easy. And we can already tell she's going to struggle with this. Like, her first thought at the end of this episode is like, oh, there's this fighting tournament with this champion lady. It's like, I need to prove myself. I'm going to go fight in that. It's like, girl, no. You don't need to prove yourself. That's the big issue, as it is. That's the problem already, that you're trying to prove yourself. But on top of it, it's like, this is not how you do it. This is stupid. You have no reason to get involved with this. You're not really a combatant. You're not going to stand really much of any chance in this. Like, the only hope you have is using trickery with the stones. It's just like, this is just stupid. It's a dumb idea. But to a degree, that makes for good television. We can see where this season is going. This season has a very strong focus on Jo and her struggles here. While season one focused more on Kid and his struggles, him trying to come to terms with all of this and figure himself out through all of these issues going on, all of this stuff going on with the stones and the aliens and being a superhero. And now it's Jo's turn. I wonder if in season 3 we're going to focus on another character, like maybe Papa G. But for now, yeah, Jo is definitely the big focused character of the season, with everyone kind of working to develop her. And I like that. I think Jo is kind of always came across as kind of this deuteragonist of the series, the secondary protagonist after Kid. So it makes sense to have her be a big focus now. And I'm very invested in this story. We get to see Phantos again this episode as well. And he's pretty much the same as ever. We get to get a better look, especially Jo gets to get a better look at the planet destroyer itself, Erodius. And yeah, that fills her with some existential dread. Listen, if I were on that ship and I got a first-hand view of that kind of shit, I would not be okay. I'm just telling you now. It's like I would been a lot more of a like obvious mess than her. I don't do well with that kind of shit as it is. I've talked about this before, but existential shit like really freaks me out. And seeing something like that would definitely bring on a lot of existential dread, to a point where I would probably be in a very, very mentally bad state for a good long while. I'm like talking to the point where I would be probably almost non-responsive for, I would say, maybe weeks. I would be in like that bad of a state. I wouldn't be doing these YouTube videos. I can tell you that for sure. But it's cool getting to see some of the other denizens, I guess you could say, of the diner getting to join on these missions. I mean, just seeing Flo is pretty cool as it is, but seeing the others get to join in too, I think that's just a really cool idea. I wonder if the biker chick who we saw near the end of this with the speed stone, I wonder if she's going to join them on a mission, because that would be pretty cool. I just think it's a really fun idea to see these other characters get some time to shine. You know? Because otherwise they're just like background characters for the most part. So giving them a little bit of focus here allows them to feel like, you know, more like characters. And I think that's something that a lot of shows just don't really go into as much. Like, even a lot of the better shows don't really do this as much. There are exceptions, of course, like Owl House actually did this for a few different characters, such as Steve. He got a bigger focus a couple of times. But you don't see this a lot, where like very minor side characters suddenly are brought into an episode or two to have like some notable focus. And I really appreciate whenever a show does do that. I kept bringing it up a lot last season, but this series really impresses me. Not just with its writing, its comedy, its great moments, but there's a lot that this series does that catches me off guard in how well it's executed. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like I thought, oh, it's a Craig McCracken series, it's not going to be that great. No, I never thought that. In fact, it's more like I thought, oh, it's a Craig McCracken series. I have a lot of hope for this series. Because again, I've mentioned this before. I grew up with Craig McCracken shows, with Powerpuff Girls, with Foster's Home. It's like, this is the kind of shit like I have seen quite a bit of. And although this is like his first series that is serialized rather than episodic, it's it's still got his trademark humor, his trademark sass. Honestly, there's a lot of sass. It very much feels like it has the same kind of style to it, but a little more mature, I would say, than a lot of those other ones. And mind you, that might be due to the fact that it's on a streaming service rather than network TV, but still, it's just so well made that it's impressive. And not impressive as in I didn't expect it way, but impressive as in it just keeps surprising me with how good it is. And this episode is no exception. Not to mention just the build up. This season is building up so much more than the first season did to its big bad. And again, I've said it before, I don't even think Herodias is going to be the big bad for this season. I don't think Herodias is going to be the big bad until season 3. I think Phantos is the final big bad of season 2. He's the one we're going to have to take out. Well, him and his mother. And then season 3, we're going to focus on Herodias. But the build-up here is insane. In season 1, it was mostly about getting to know these characters and getting to learn about, how things are going to work and everything. It wasn't so much like building to that grand stuff in the same way. So it feels like the scale has kind of increased with this. And I mean that in the best way, of course. All the characters are getting their chances to shine, except Chuck so far, I guess. But he'll probably get a moment as well. He'll probably be on one of these missions. This is just so far going honestly great. There's a lot of great jokes, like even just like little gags here and there, such as Tuna flirting with the space cat and talking about like getting out his catnip and stuff, and it's like, this is just talking about doing drugs. This is just a joke about drugs, about casual drug use with a partner, or a potential partner at least. It's like that's just really funny, because it's like kids won't get that. They'll just hear catnip and they'll like be, haha, he's a cat. But adults will hear that. It's like, catnip is basically drugs to a cat. This is a drug joke. What the fuck? So, and I love shows that do that too. Shows that have a different contextualization based on a viewer's age, where it's like, oh, the kids watching this are just gonna find it funny. The adults watching this are going to realize what it means. And Craig McCracken's always been good at that. There was a lot of that in Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home. Honestly, a lot of that. And it's not even the first drug joke he's done. You remember the cookies with Frankie in Foster's Home? That was a drug joke. I feel like a lot of people didn't realize that growing up. But, like, Frankie's not just obsession with the cookies, but, like, dependence on them and everything. It's like, oh yeah, that was drugs. That was absolutely about drugs. That's not even a question. Also, one of the wildest episodes of Foster's Home. Just saying, that episode was insanity. But yeah, it's like, this is not out of the wheelhouse for Craig McCracken to do. So I'm glad I'm seeing like that kind of thing transcend into his newer stuff as well. In fact, I didn't see a lot of Wander Over Yonder. I believe that's him as well. But there's definitely jokes and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, just Lord Dominator. Like, she is so needlessly obnoxiously sexy. It's like, why did they do that? The kids aren't going to get it, but the adults watching are going to be like, why is she so goddamn sexy? It's like, this is Jessica Rabbit levels of sexy in terms of how she's drawn. It's like, what the actual hell? Why? But anyway, yeah, this is definitely setting up for some big stuff with Joe, and I think it's going to be a great character arc. I can't wait to see where it goes. Apparently, next it's going to go to a fighting arena. That's going to be fun. I am very worried she's going to get herself really badly hurt. And honestly, with Craig McCracken, I honestly believe he could go in a very intense direction with that, actually. Like, I'm almost a little worried about that. I don't know. I don't think there'll be like any permanent injury or anything, but like, I wouldn't put it past him to try and like maybe push in the idea of like a broken bone or something like that. Like maybe Joe gets her arm broken. Like that would be intense as fuck and probably scary for kids, but I would not put it past Craig McCracken, especially with a show that's not on network TV. But either way, we shall see. I'm very excited. I'm very much enjoying this. But tell me your thoughts down below. And before we sign off, I just want to remind you once again that we have an awesome array of great content on the channel. Every Monday through Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Monday specifically, we also do YouTube reactions or YouTube adjacent. We have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. Though I do record them earlier in the week, they're uploaded on the weekends. We're also currently going through 2 separate Let's Plays on the channel. Spider-Man 2 every Tuesday, or Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and Anno Mutationum every Saturday. Anno Mutationum is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. If you wish to learn how to donate for a PS5 donation reward Let's Play, check out the videos on the channel labeled PS5 Game Reward Month, and you should have all the information you need. Or you can contact me in another way, such as Discord through a direct message, or via the comments below. Whatever you're most comfortable with. But all of that being said, once again, I thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.